Well, good afternoon. Good afternoon. We're excited to get started. We're happy that folks are chatting, getting to know each other. Apologies for the audio. It's lagged just a little bit for our friends on Zoom. But we're excited to get started. Welcome to the fourth all-member meeting of NCCPC. My name is Chris Nellum. I serve as, in my day job, the executive director of Trust West. Ooh, this echo is it's gonna be an adjustment. Do I have to use the mic, tech person? I do. Okay. Uh, so in my day job, I serve as the executive director of Trust West. I also serve as the co-chair of NCCPC's policy committee. Go policy. So we're excited to be here today. We have about 30 or 40 folks online, in addition to all of our friends here in the room. All right. We'll pause for 1 second. Festin, that's better, we think. Can they hear online? I could see in people's faces, they were like, this is not going to work. So my name's Chris, really happy to be here with all of you today. One of the things I was reflecting on when Mayor asked me to do this event with her is, why do we come together? And actually, I was in a meeting this morning, and it was a bunch of folks who were really active in the 1960s civil rights movement, who are still active today. And they were being asked, how do you feel about the progress we've made, or how do you feel about where we've come? And one of the things they said is actually this is one of the darker periods that they have experienced, which was not great. But what they did say is one of the most important things we can continue to do is to show up and to stay at it and to do so in community. And I think when I think of NCCPC, that's what we're doing. We're showing up for the area where we all live, for the young people we know all need us to do this work with and on behalf of them. And so I'm just really happy to be in community with all of you today. I think on the next slide, we're going to spend some time, just all of you. I know you all were chatting, which we love, but we want to just, before we get into introductions, just a quick set of reminders. The event is being recorded via Zoom. If you can, have your cameras on for our folks online. Most folks are muted, but you can also watch the chat for things happening. And then in person, we're also recording. We really want folks to engage, which we're going to start on the next slide. In the room, we are unmuted. A couple other housekeeping logistics you have on your tables. In person, you have on your tables QR codes that Mayor's holding up. There's an exit ticket. And equally important, there's a raffle. So we want you to stay with us to the end and also let us know how you experienced today. That's part of what is on the exit ticket. And on the next slide, we want to start a little bit, or not on the next slide. What we're doing now, I just want to give you a heads up of where we're headed. So we want to celebrate today. One of the things I didn't say that I meant to say earlier is I know we all work really hard in our various contexts, whether that's direct service or advocacy or research or philanthropy. And we have to celebrate because the stuff that we're all working on, the issues that we all care about are so seemingly intractable. What do we do if we're not going to at least take a moment to celebrate? So we want to do a little bit of that today. Actually, a lot of that with wine very soon. That's what I have in my cup. I'm kidding. No, that's coffee. We want to spend some time with each of the committees so we can hear about the great work that they're doing. We're going to have a presentation about putting the cradle and cradle to career with the California CSA Coalition. And then in Zoom, we're going to have some breakouts to do some policy updates that we'll also do here in person. And then wine at 4. We'll do that here for folks in the room, and I hope folks at home also have some libations. So now we're actually going to do introductions, I believe. And so folks online, we hope that folks can type your name, your affiliation in the chat, and in the room at your tables. Sounds like you may have already started to do this, but can you just share with each other your name, your organization, where you're situated in the region, and then are you a member of NCCPC, and just maybe share some of your experiences. And so I think we're going to take about 5 minutes to do that, and then we'll come back. Well, we hope folks got a little bit of a chance to get to know each other a little bit better. Is anyone who here is from the North Bay? Do we have the North Bay in the house? The North Bay is asleep. Oh, okay. They're here. What about the South Bay? San Jose, East Bay? Lots of East Bay. Anybody from the city? Awesome, awesome. Well, there are so many of us that are in NCCPC, as you can see. Folks, again, doing direct service, philanthropy, research, advocacy. And again, I think one of the beauties of the coalition is that we're stronger together. So appreciate everyone being here today. We're going to spend a couple minutes now transitioning to committee updates so folks can hear all the exciting work that has been happening. You can see all of their gorgeous faces here. And you can see a little bit about on the slide about what each committee is charged with and how they spend their time. I want to welcome up first from our Campus Partnerships Committee, the co-chair Catherine Cepeda, who is also a steering committee member with Beyond 12. Yeah.
Hi, everyone. So great to see you all in person, and also so grateful for NCCPC for always cultivating spaces for us to come together and doing awesome with their events. I'll share a little bit. So I am Chief of Staff to the CEO at Beyond 12. I've been at the organization for 10 years. We're based out of Oakland, but support students nationally through a digital coaching platform. And I also get to co-chair the Campus Partnerships Committee. And for my update today, I wanted to just share more about what the committee has been working on for this fiscal year. We have two objectives that were guiding our work and our key results. So you see those populated here, but the first one is really centered around our partnership with San Jose City College. San Jose City College has been an amazing collaborative partner, helping us think through how to build the partnership infrastructure to continue building additional partnerships moving forward, and also helping us think through student data sharing. So like Dr. Nella mentioned, I'm super grateful for our committee members who continue to show up to our meetings, answer surveys around data, and how to best share data with our partnerships, because sometimes it can feel like that is taking a while and we want to get to work and we want to share data to support our students. We know we're all well intentioned and want to be able to support students as best as possible, but we want to be good stewards of the data as well. And so a lot of our work this year has focused on outlining the FERPA requirements to be able to make our partnership possible, and then also thinking through the data priorities for folks who want to share data with this partnership so that we can make sure that we set everything up correctly. And then the second objective is really around identifying the peer support network or resources that our students may need. And by our students, meaning our committees, students, and NCCPC organization students. We were working through assessing kind of what exists out there, what our different committee members are doing, also what we may feel like students required in the transition to college. But we realized that we did not have any student voices at the table. So then we decided to pivot and think through, like, how do we gather student input and student invoice? And that is why you see on the slide that we updated this OKR to allow us to think about a focus group protocol or surveys that our members can then distribute to their students to gather that input about what students feel like they need when they transition to college. And we're going to create that plan next fiscal year. So that's a little bit about our committee. If you want to learn more, please let me know. But again, very grateful for you all and for our committee members.
All right. Hi, everyone. My name is John Tamrat. I represent MoneyThink as a partner success manager and the co-chair for the committees of practice with Rose Allen, who can't make it today with us. Just want to talk about a little more what we do within the committee. So a big part of it, as being part of practice of community, is being a space where all of us come together. Right? We all do important work, but as the saying goes, you can go fast alone, but you go far together. And that's the space we're trying to create and working really on making sure we're seeing what's happening in our communities, but also how those compound to one another, right? Some of those is leading discussions and figuring out what's happening. Big one that we've had this year is the impact of FAFSA, the delays, how they're impacting our communities. What are we doing individually, but as well as collectively to support that progression, right? Another one we've done as well is the opportunities for our members to share, pilot things that they're doing. So we've had some of public schools share a little more about what they're doing for their workforce development, how they're engaging their middle school students within that pathway as well, which is great to see. And that can be replicated somewhere else. I know with us within MoneyThink as well, we are sharing out our decided tool, how we can better support our programs, but also what others are doing within our communities as well. So for those who are interested in learning a little bit more about what's happening in the space, or if you want to also have a platform to showcase some of the things your organizations are doing, that's great. That can be replicated, that can support the community. This is where the committees can come together and can help you. And it's a great way to, professional development, whether it's presenting, showcasing, highlighting, that is a space for us to do that. We've also started embarking on partnering a little more with our other committees. So with workforce development, we had the opportunity to do a session together where we talk about AI and the impact that can have for our workers ourselves, but also what is that implication for our students? How can we better prepare them? Because it's not about avoiding it, but how do we encourage them to use it, support their growth and their development within education? So those are a little bit about what we've been doing. I'm happy to talk to you all later on if you want to join the committee of practice, and would love to connect with you. Thank you.
Thank you, John. And up next, we have the Workforce Committee being represented by 10,000 Degrees today.
Hi, everyone. So nice to be in community with you all. I am not Caitlin Endo, so I am going to stand in and do the best I can to represent all the great work that she is doing to lead our Workforce Development Committee with great folks in the back, as well as some others who are here today. So our Workforce Committee has largely been focused on a few things last year, and then I'll sort of give you some updates about where we're at for this year. One is really thinking through employer partnerships and relationships. So all of us as separate organizations and entities may have relationships with folks in the community, whether they're employers or folks that have experiences for high school and college age youth that may be of interest in them to help them develop their skills and really explore their career interests. And so we've been thinking about how to best leverage the contacts and relationships that we have in order to get more students really into all of those programs. So last year we had an MOU and a relationship with Old Navy through the This Way On Our Way program. And that was a great learning moment for all of us to really sort of understand how to best work with some employer partnerships, how to reach all the students that we collectively work with, and how we might be able to come together to kind of think through additional opportunities. So what we've done for our OKRs for this year is think about the different relationships we may have, and we created a short list of some high impact partners that we may want to explore as prospects. And so we're in the process of reaching out to them and seeing if they are interested in working with us and really accessing all of the great talent that we all have access to with the student populations that we serve. And so that is something that we're looking forward, and that's still in the process for happening for this year. And then I think the other big thing that's happened that Caitlin has really done a great job on this year is thinking through kind of using the group as a resource group and a community of practice. So just understanding that in workforce development in particular, all of us are approaching this work in such different ways. We have folks that represent college and university systems, nonprofits, schools, libraries, and everyone is trying to do some piece in terms of supporting, making sure that everyone has access to great job and career opportunities. And so Caitlin has allowed time in our meetings to allow us to share some ideas, hear from folks who may be coming in and sharing about some best practices they have, some new ideas, and making sure that we're all really using that time together, which is quite precious. I think all of our different groups coming together to learn from one another to make sure that we're collectively having a larger impact. And so to that end, one of the things that we have on our slide here is just thinking through communication. So they are in the process of setting up a Google site, which is exciting. So for the folks working on that, something to add for that. Oh, okay. Is that correct? Am I saying the right thing? Okay, good. Great. So working kind of through a Google in communication with each other and best able to share out different opportunities and resources that we have. So thank you who put all of this together and come talk to us on Workforce if you'd like to learn more. Thank you.
And up next is the policy committee. And my partner in crime, Parshan, is going to give our updates.
Thank you, Dr. Nelum. Hello, everybody. I am here to talk about the best committee in NCCPC. So, yeah, I got to give that shout out. Go Policy Committee. So we've had a very, very active and busy year. So for those of you who don't know, well, you should all know, AB 288 was the core foundational bill and legislation that this organization kind of put together. And so for the past year and a half, even longer than that, we've been doing work on implementation of AB 288. We've had, as you can see up here, in terms of our issue priority areas, are right now working on another bill, 3240, as a co-sponsor, where we're helping with implementation and design of the policies that's going to help build on that marquee bill. And we have been working in very close partnership with the CalKIDS folks in implementing those programs, working on a bill on that front as well. We've had a very busy year. Y'all should all join the policy committee. And we're working on just generally on C2C proposals and outreach. Both Mayor Dr. Nelum, now on the main board, and I recently got the chance to join the advisory committee of the community advisory committee. So we're implementing and helping with a lot of the proposals and outreach there. And finally, we are part of the Cal Grant Reform Coalition, helping with the Cal Grant Reform, which by itself was going to help over 100,000 more students in California get access to Cal Grants. So it's a huge, huge deal, and we're continuing to work on these funds. We also had our OKRs, one of the main pieces to do advocacy days. And so not only have we already done that, and we went and showed up in the legislature and gave public comments in the Senate, but we also are partnering with the College for All Coalition in June to do an advocacy day and turn out in Sacramento to push for our legislative priorities. Anybody here who's interested, reach out to us, and we'll make sure that y'all are set for that. So thank you. Go Policy Team.
Thank you, Parshan. And I think, as you all can see, even from the committees, we're thinking about all the issues that we're working on from various perspectives, doing really, really good work. So now I'm going to welcome Janae up, the Vice Chair of the Steering Committee, the mighty Steering Committee, to give us some updates on their work and some of the progress that they've made.
And I almost dropped my notes. All right. Good afternoon. And my name is Janae Aptaker. I was just introduced, but Vice Chair of the Steering Committee and a proud founding member of NCCPC. Unfortunately, I'm not joined by the chair of NCCPC. He was unable to make it, but I do want to give a shout out to David for just being an amazing chair and for really driving the leadership of this coalition and just having that vision, bringing Mayor, all of that. Can you go back to the other slide? Okay. So I want to thank all of you for just being here today. You could have been anywhere on a Friday afternoon and you chose to be here. So we really appreciate that. So just a couple things about the steering committee and updates. We want to thank everyone who is here. So if you are a steering committee member, can you please stand? Okay. And for the folks online, we haven't forgot about our Zoom attendees. Please stay standing. We have one more piece. All right, we're going to get some exercise. For the folks online, if you are a steering committee member, please put an emoji or put something in the chat just so we can recognize you as well. And we thank you for your service. The steering committee members have been responsible for tripling, doubling and doubling how many members we have over 6 times. So just an amazing feat. And the steering committee has also been responsible for raising $1.5 million for NCCPC, which has helped us to have staff and really move a lot of work forward. So we want to thank you. You all may sit down, but thank you for those amazing efforts, and thank you to those online. We want to thank our partners and guests who are here today. So if you are a guest, I met 1 or 2, but if you're a guest, can you just wave at us? And then all our guests, please let us know that as well. We've been able to grow our budget 10 times, and that has been incredible. So we started out, Mayor, some of you may know, she was yes, she was a consultant. Sorry, y'all. It has been a week. I'm gonna be honest. Let me take a step back. It has been a week, and actually it's been a year. So I apologize. I'm like stumbling around, but we're gonna get through this. So Mayor started out as a consultant, and we saw the incredible work that she was able to do in moving a lot of our work forward, building relationships, bringing on new organizations, and also helping us structurally, internally in the committee. So, so thank you to Mayor, but even beyond that, she was able to, through this funding, we were able to hire her as the executive director, and now she has a team of staff who I also want to shout out the NCCPC staff and team. Heather, can you wave? We all know Mayor, and then Juster, all right, and Alex, who y'all are doing amazing, so thank you. So we want to continue to grow, and we do need your support. We need your help. We want you all to spread the word about NCCPC and share about what we're doing. A lot of times just seed planting, people knowing what we do, why we're doing it is very important. And I know everybody in this room and to the folks online are extremely passionate about the work that we're doing. NCC is a bridge so many times between what schools or universities cannot do and what schools and universities cannot do, or they just don't have the reach or capacity. That is, NCCPC has been huge in that. So we have a lot more in store. Thank you for being evangelists. Thank you for going out and spreading the word for sure. Another huge accomplishment that we had is just growing the number of students that we serve. So we started out with about 300 students between the 11 organizations that we had. And now we're serving over 250,000 students through your program. So give yourself a round of applause for that. It really helps our reach. It really helps our reach to be able to have more organizations, because then we can support more students cradle to career. But we do have more in store. We are going to be hosting a couple of events, and we want you all to come to these events, take advantage of them, or spread the word. So in May, we're hosting a free mental health first aid workshop. We're hosting a free mental health first aid workshop. For those of you who may not be familiar with mental health first aid, it's an incredible certification, but it helps you be able to help others. And in particular, young people who we know that loneliness is a huge issue. And one that has been impacting us more and more since the pandemic. We know belonging is a big part, and you have a lot of different issues that young people deal with, but also ourselves. So the tactics that you will learn and some of the strategies to support others, you will be able to gain there. And you never know when you're going to be someone around you, whether in your family or whatnot, will have a mental health crisis. So we had 20 members join us last year. It is free, y'all. We want you to take advantage of it. So we're hoping to double that number. So please check us out. I believe in the follow-up email, there will be a link to sign up for that. So we have more though. So in June, we're going to be hosting an advocacy policy day. As Parshawn mentioned a little bit earlier, last year we were able to get 50 individuals up to Sacramento, and they supported the advocacy and policy. So we want more. We want more, and we need more voices, more organizations signing on to move these incredibly important policies forward. So please do join us for that. And the last bigger event we're going to host is the first ever elected officials and funders convening. So that's going to be very exciting. For the past couple years, we've hosted mayor-specific circles, but it became very clear to us from those events that a lot of elected officials are coming, city council members, school board members, and other people who are extremely instrumental in helping us move the work forward, but also to implement some of the policies that we're supporting. So AB 288 with scholarship displacement, they have been able to support with that, and many other policies. So please join us for that. It will be hosted in the Bay Area. TBD on location, but we always try to find somewhere very central. It will be sponsored by Excite Credit Union and College Futures Foundation. So shout out to them for that. And we will also be co-hosted by a couple different individuals. So SRA, Students Rising Above, will be co-hosting, and also Sobrato Philanthropies. So please do join us for that. It's our first ever. Oh. I'm so sorry. Thank you. Thank you, Angela. 10,000 Degrees will also be supporting. So just stay tuned for that. Do join us. Don't forget your exit ticket. The exit ticket tells us what you thought about the event, what needed to change, or even what you loved about the event and how you were able to get information. It helps us be able to make these events even better next time, or even tailor some of the activities that we're doing. So please do that. But also when you fill out an exit ticket, you will get information back. We'll be able to email you and remind you that you need to come to the elected funders convening and for some of our other events. So I made it through, y'all. It was rough, but I made it through. Thank you for your patience, and I'm going to pass it back to the ever eloquent Dr. Nello.
Thank you. Thank you, Janae. The impact slides for me, I didn't even know all the work that the steering committee was doing. It's important and impressive. The other thing I was reflecting on before we get to the panel is, regional coalitions like NCCPC, I think, push back on something that I think is really important for us to think about. Inequity depends on us all being head down, not connected, not collaborative. And I think one of the things that NCCPC is doing is trying to ensure that our voices are heard in Sacramento, that we have communities of practice so that we're thinking really strategically about how to do the work. The other, we're also thinking about statewide policy change. And so for me, it is incredible that in just a few years, we have a coalition that Mayor and others are leading that is helping us really reframe how we think about systemic change in our region. And I think that's really, really impressive and important. The next thing I want to do is, again, just thank a couple folks. Again, thanks to Janae for that sort of updates. Thank you to all the committee work. I hope you all are as impressed as I was with all the work that's happening. Again, before you all get rid of me up here, I just want to say thank you to Mayor, of course, the incredible Mayor who has she got me here on a Friday. I got to pick up my little one, and I said, if Mayor's asking me, I'm going to do this and still make pickup so I don't get charged $1 a minute. Of course, also thank you to Heather. Where are they? Heather's in the back there. Of course, Alex, who is making all the tech work and many, many other things happen. And Juster also. And another reminder to use for the folks online, and I think in person, to use your Padlet if you have other questions that you want to raise for us today. Someone's asking Mayor something. All right. All right. And then so the next thing we want to do, another thing I think NCCPC does really well is helps us learn about what's happening, about how to leverage good work that's available to us in the state. And so we're going to have a panel right now focused on the California savings account that Amanda Feinstein is going to lead. Are we pulling these over? What's happening? Oh, they're there. All right. So I'm going to hand this to Amanda and look forward to talking with you all in about a half an hour again.
Hello, everybody. So I'm Amanda Feinstein, and I wear various hats, but among them is as the director of the Child Savings Account Coalition. And I will introduce my colleagues shortly, but we have a new and really important strategic partnership between the Child Savings Account Coalition and NCCPC that has come to fruition this year. The focus of children's savings accounts is to help young people, often started at birth or in elementary school, to build financial assets that then can be applied towards activities when they enter young adulthood, often education, in our case, specifically money for education, but also in the larger field, which we are a piece of building wealth from an early age, perhaps for starting a small business, perhaps for money for home ownership or other kind of investments that young people make if they have some assets as they enter adulthood. So we, the CSA Coalition, is a coalition of 15 local child savings account programs in the state and other advocates that care about providing early assets to kids so that they, from a very early age, will be thinking about and holding the expectation that they will be going to pursue post-secondary education. That may be college, that may be training. And we know from 25 years of doing this work and this field's slow development that it does make a difference in a child's self-perception to have money in the bank earmarked for their education, and that it can influence how they perform in school and how they strive to persist in post-secondary education, as well as for resources that are started when children are young. There is the opportunity for compound growth and the opportunity for communities to do fundraising and contribute to kids' college accounts. So what I want to do is introduce my colleagues. We have 25 minutes. We're a little bit like speed panel. After I introduce them, they will each have a couple of minutes to talk about their program. So first I have my colleague Mohan Kanungo, who is the director of San Francisco's Kindergarten to College program, and John Hogan, who is the executive director of Excite Foundation, which runs 2 child savings account programs, So these are a couple folks who are on the ground in community. And then online, I don't know how to point to you, Noah. We have Noah Lightman, who is the manager of CalKIDS, which is the statewide child savings account program, which is also now the largest child savings account program in the country. So you're going to have a little bit of a breadth of experience. And I am going to start by handing this to Mohan.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be with all of you today. I'm really excited by our collaboration. And so I think if we can go to the next slide, we're going to all just give you a little bit of a synopsis of our programs as we dig into some more discussion. So kindergarten to college started in 2011, and it's part of the Office of the San Francisco Treasurer. So then Mayor and now Governor Newsom and the existing treasurer, Jose Cisneros, founded KDC. And how the program works is we essentially open a college savings account for every student in the San Francisco Unified School District with $50. And then we offer incentives that encourage families to save. We also offer incentives that encourage families to just engage with the account. So one big sort of success metric we look at collectively, all of our programs, is how many people have logged in to view their balance online. And often that's the point that it really becomes real, right? People see that there's money there, earmarked for them in their student's name, and that's really meaningful. So I think if there's one more slide, I'll just highlight, kind of fast forward since our program launched. We had our first cohort of students graduate this past year. So until now, we've been telling all these kindergartners, hey, save, put money in your account. And we actually have kindergartners come into City Hall or branches at Citibank and they deposit money in their account. It's super cute. But now these little kids are young adults and they're not just kids anymore. And we had the problem of figuring out how to get them their money. And so I'm super excited that and really happy, although there's still more work to be done, that we were able to distribute now over $640,000 to 1,400 students. And I say so far because the campaign is ongoing, right? We all know that not every student, particularly from an equity perspective, is going to go to college right away. So the opportunity is still available to them. We want you all to help us in getting the word out for our programs to claim their money. And some of the key things we'll talk more about is we've collectively been able to help families now, this number is dated, actually save over $17 million. We have helped folks not only save with our program, but transfer that to California Scholar Share, the 529 accounts, which is an investment account. And the average balance for those who graduated and who had an account since kindergarten was $1,400. So obviously this is not going to pay for 1 year of tuition, but we all know every little bit helps. And that's why we're here with you all today to help make sure that people can get access to this money that's their money.
Great. Thank you, Mohan and Amanda. It's great to be here. Thanks to all of you for being here. As Amanda mentioned, the credit union and an Excite Foundation, a 501c3 nonprofit that we started, actually run 2 college savings programs. And the genesis of that is the credit union started running one itself, which is the one on the left, Step Up Savings, which is an opt-in program, we call it, where families actually have to proactively create a college savings account. And our account's very generous, where we provide a seed deposit. Every year we match their deposit with $25, and it does pay 5% interest. And it paid 5% interest 5 years ago when nobody paid any interest. And so it's a very generous program. And at the same time, we've always struggled with adoption. The barrier to opening a bank account is still real. So actually, with Mohan's help, we patterned our College in My Future program really after the San Francisco program, which had about a 12-year head start on us, but we're in our 3rd year. And that one runs very similar, where it's automatic enrollment for all the first graders in the lowest income school district in East San Jose. So we're in our 3rd year on that one and growing it as rapidly as we can. And actually this year we added not just the school district, we added a group of Head Start preschool children into the program. So it's another way to get even closer to the cradle. Although now I know when I pass it to Noah, he's going to tell you more about the cradle.
Awesome. Thank you, John, Mohan, Amanda, Mur, and everyone for being part of today. I'm excited to talk with you a little bit about the CalKIDS program. By way of
Hey, Noah, you may want to restart.
Oh, okay. No worries. Can you hear me now?
Yes, sorry about that.
Perfect. Thank you, Mohan. So hi, everyone. By way of background, I work for a very small independent state agency called the Scholar Share Investment Board. We are an independent board that oversees the state's 529 college savings program that Mohan alluded to before. But we have the distinct pleasure of also administering this CalKIDS program. And a little bit of evolution on just kind of how the program came to be. I think you can see on the slide deck here. Back in 2019, there was this concept of let's create something that would be statewide for every newborn in the state, because there were programs like in San Francisco, in Oakland, one in development in Los Angeles, a few others in the state, Santa Cruz, for example. And the idea was, let's do something statewide. And so the state said, here's a small investment to create accounts for every newborn in the state. That was in 2019. We all know what happens the following year, 2020, and we're not sure, is this going to launch? Is it not going to launch? And then in 2021, when the state had a significant surplus, the governor's office and legislature says, we love this concept so much, let's expand it tenfold. And that's where we get today, having launched this program in the summer of 2022, that really has two different components to it, a newborn side and a student side. And I think if you can follow, if you can maybe do the next, there we go. You'll see kind of the distinct aspects of the program, and it'll require me more than 2 minutes to go through it. But in short, the idea is every baby born in the state after July 1st of 2022 can get up to $175 in an account. And then certain low-income students, namely those kids who were in 1st through 12th grade in a public school 2 years ago, get between $500 and $1,500. And the idea is in ongoing years, we continue adding low-income 1st grade students. And eventually, these kids can use these funds for higher education expenses, from tuition, room and board, fees, whatnot. All the family needs to access these accounts are for newborns, a very specific number on the birth certificate. And then for students, a statewide student identifier that every public school student is assigned. So we've been very fortunate to create accounts for over 4 million kids so far. And right now our challenge is making this program mainstream. We're excited to have had over 300,000 kids already sign up to claim their accounts, which is awesome. As John was talking about, there are kids who, and Mohan mentioned too, are kids who are able to use the funds for college already, and we've sent out over 25,000 in distributions. So we're really excited to administer this program, and we look forward to all of your partnership in helping promote it. I think I'll pass it back to Amanda now.
Thank you, Noah. The question I want each of you to speak to a little bit next is the why. Part of it is like, what are families telling you? And then why is this an important investment? And I'm going to keep the focus on Noah to let you start.
Great. Thanks, Amanda. I think there's two ways of looking at it. The first is, let's start with the research. These programs are all out there because someone in the academic field said, what's going to be the benefits of families if we start thinking of assets as early as possible? And so, I want to name a few influential researchers in this space. Dr. Willie Elliott at the University of Michigan has done a lot of work on studying, what are the psychological and emotional benefits that having these accounts can create for children, and what can they do to inspire children. I also want to give a shout out to the folks at Washington University in St. Louis, namely Michael Sherraden and Margaret Clancy, who did a study that's ongoing called Seed for Oklahoma. And for those of you a little less familiar with the children's savings space, the concept with Seed OK is they took babies in Oklahoma, about 3,000 of them, and they gave them accounts with $1,000 in them in a 529 account. And after 12 years so far, what they found is that that amount, that $1,000 grew significantly. There were more families who were saving on their own, especially families of color and low-income families. And also, kind of speaking to Dr. Elliott's work, it helped inspire families that higher education can be within reach and that they're more prepared to start saving on their own. And so that's, kind of on the academic side, but then thinking about it on our program side, I want to share with you a few tidbits that we're very proud of. Last summer, we did a survey of about 3,000 eligible CalKIDS participants, and it really helped us in figuring out what are we doing right, what are we doing wrong, and how can we re-message a little bit. But what we found is that there was a lot of practical support in paying for higher education through this program. And then, like the research suggested, a lot of people felt that it gave them a new burst of inspiration, that higher education could be within reach. And, we also have this segment of our population that's already in higher ed using the funds. And in the fall, we did a survey of those students that have made distributions. And it's pretty phenomenal to just read their testimonials. To see how as much as $500 can make a big difference in paying for books, paying for fees. No, it's not going to pay off all of higher education, but every dollar counts. And, we're excited to administer a program of this nature.
I'll wait to turn those speakers down. Thank you. I think that there's a few points I would want to make. Our program is in East San Jose, and many families that are participating are immigrants. And what we hear from the parents is, many of them came to this country so that their children can have a better education. So the work we do at the credit union is kind of multi-generational in that way. And this program aligns very well with that. The reasons that they, in fact, immigrated here and the parents are working so hard to help their children have a better future. We know that education will be that pathway for those kids. And I think when we specifically are talking to parents, what I hear when they learn about our account or the CalKIDS account with $500, their eyes brighten. And the question, it inspires the curiosity and gives the hope. And it's like, so often they ask, can I add more? How do I add more? Now that I have this, how do I add more? So that is very inspiring. And that's actually a way our programs work well with CalKIDS programs. And I think additional point with this being, a network of College Promise programs, I think it's important to note that our programs at the credit union, we are advertised as the third pillar of the Spartan Eastside Promise program, which is a program that links to San Jose State. So they had guaranteed admission to San Jose State as part of their program. They had scholarships that were coming from a foundation, but they wanted to add children's savings as what they call the third corner of their triangle, which then gets us again closer to that cradle and gives them a long-term trajectory for the Spartan Eastside Promise.
Thank you. I'd like the next question is, John's going to start us again. But the next question is to talk about what is effective in helping families and kids be aware of these accounts. So we're creating them kind of automatically in many instances using data from the Department of Education or a school district, and like the account is made, and then it's the families need to know about it and they need to be able to interact with it, and communities need to fundraise for it. So what works in terms of letting families know and inspiring them?
Yeah, thank you. Believe it or not, sometimes it's hard to give away free money. We've all been working on it together. And Part of what we do now, we don't only tell families about our programs, but we're telling about CalKIDS. And so some kind of granular things that are happening, with Noah mentioned that the students need their statewide student ID number. And that's difficult. Most elementary students and parents don't know what that is or have easy access to it. So we've had school districts individually send or post through parent portals their individual number to students. These are things we've learned over the last 6 months that really work. So that was a district that really stepped out. Some schools are making it part of the parent-teacher conference presentation where the teacher is asking the parent if they're familiar that they may have a CalKIDS account or a College in My Future account. At the high school level, the group that you're probably also familiar with, CalSOAP. CalSOAP has been a phenomenal advocate for the programs in our community and probably in yours as well. And I think they've been very helpful. And in even just getting into the high school classrooms, I had the opportunity to go directly into high school government classrooms. In one day, speaking to 6 different classes, we were able to take a certain school from one of the lowest CalKIDS registration rates in the county to one of the highest after just one day of talking to the high school seniors. And we know they'll go peer-to-peer and tell their friends. So these have been effective. And then I want to touch on another thing that we just did this morning. I can't tell you the results yet, but it was so fun. I want to spread the optimism that for our younger children within this school district, Franklin McKinley School District, we've been continuing to chip away and inform. And this morning we had a meeting, and we had 16 promotores. So these are community parents that advocate and educate other parents in the community. Come to a meeting this morning, and they set their own goals for their community about what they were going to do and how they were going to try to drive the education parent to parent in their community. It was really inspiring. The meeting was 100% in Spanish. I don't speak Spanish. So I'm still anxious to circle back with my team to find out what else happened, but I have a pretty good idea what happened. It was a wonderful event this morning.
We do lots of similar activities that John described. Being in the classroom, I think, is amazing at actually getting people to register, right? Doing workshops like that. But we overall have a few kind of different communities we rely on for support to get the word out. So we have school ambassadors. These are like promotores. It could be the school secretary or a teacher who's basically, signing up to champion the program. And obviously we can't pay teachers enough for all the work they do, but we do give them a $100 gift card to thank them for that support. And they might be the ones that, bring students to that Citibank branch to do a deposit day, or to, organize some really fun financial education activity. And we also have recently partnered, thanks to support from the Scholarshare Investment Board. We've partnered and expanded those partnerships with community-based organizations who are integrating CalKIDS and K2C into their existing programs. So the Bayview YMCA or Meta in the Mission, who also lead some promise-related work. We're working with them so that they can integrate our programs into their services. And then overall, we're sending letters in the mail in multiple languages, and we're making sure that we are using email and inviting them to online workshops and Zoom virtual office hours. But one thing I want to highlight that I think is sort of applicable for all of us is the benefit of using text messaging. And so I've heard, admittedly, from families who've said, I get this letter in the mail every year. I don't really know what it is, or they almost have some sort of guilt. They're like, you send us this letter that tells us that we can make a contribution, but I don't know what to do. But we did a behaviorally informed text message with a design firm that actually showed that sending a text message to people who had never made a deposit had a statistically significant increase at helping people make that first deposit. And we used like A/B testing, so putting different examples of this message in front of parents, sending sample messages, and doing sort of a iterative design of that. So if anybody's curious to know more about text messaging as a way to get people to do stuff, I'm happy to share more and also hear from you about what lessons you've learned.
Thanks so much. Because we're running short on time, I'm only going to let Noah answer the next question. So be poised, Noah. We're in a room full of folks who are working with young people as they enter college, exit high school, enter college. And I think it's super important that you hear from Noah about CalKIDS and that resource that is available to our low-income graduating high school seniors throughout the state of a CalKIDS account. So I'm going to hand it to you, Noah, to talk about what that is and how people connect.
Yeah, great question. Thank you, Amanda. The eligibility is a little bit nuanced, but again, I want to emphasize the kids that would be seniors right now were captured in theory when they were in 10th grade 2 years ago. But in order to claim their account, all they need is 3 pieces of information. Their date of birth, the county where they went to school on a specific day, and we have it blasted on the website. And then John mentioned it, and I see Jackie Navarez put it in the chat, something called the statewide student identifier. This is a unique number that stays with the students throughout their academic journey. So if they go from LIUSD to SFUSD, that number stays with them. And so, what I would ask of you all in the crowd is if you really want to help families and students claim their CalKIDS accounts, first, it's important that they check their eligibility. What we need your help with is making sure that schools make the SSIDs accessible. Once they have that information, it's super easy to claim the account.
Thanks so much, Noah. We are excited to continue growing this partnership between child savings account programs and our coalition and college promise programs. It's nascent, but it's also really important. Like we are engaging with kids from cradle to career. We're bringing a little more cradle into the dynamic, and clearly it's not just babies, but children as they grow through their educational experience. So thank you for the opportunity, and we look forward to working more together.
Thank you for that. I just learned that my newborn that's coming next month is eligible. So I signed up, which again is one of the things that NCCPC helps us do, is to be aware of what's happening and what's available to us. Another thing, I saw someone in the chat say, it's great that the state is giving this free money out, and this is our money. Like everyone has paid taxes, and even if you haven't, you've contributed in some way. And so this is just a return on all the good things we're doing. So really appreciate that, and a reminder that the path to college starts from birth. And so appreciate all of you for that. My time is ending. Again, I have to get to this kid's school very soon so that I'm not paying her college money in fines. But I want to say thank you, of course, to Mayor for allowing me to be here today. I'm going to stick around a little bit if GPS says I can. Also, just want to say I've really appreciated my time on the policy committee. As co-chair, my time ends in I think about 6 weeks when I go out on parental leave. But appreciate all the work we've done together and look forward to joining the steering committee in the fall. So I think my last thing to do is to pass it to the incomparable Mayor to bring us home. I think she's going to bring us to wine. And so just appreciate everyone for being here, and thank you.
One more time for Chris, who's closing it down as our policy chair. Under Chris's leadership. Oh, got it. Under Chris's leadership, we have a 3-year policy agenda. We've hosted an advocacy day. We've not just passed a bill, we have implemented a bill, and we're making more progress. So I just wanted to note that because of time, folks may have started to drop off of Zoom already. We are going to nix our breakout groups, because instead for those in person, y'all will just break out and sip on some wine. Those on Zoom, we hope to see you at an upcoming committee meeting. But I did just want to remind you again to please access that Padlet, because that's where all of the different resources are that we mentioned today. You can register now for that July 17 joint convening. So that registration link is in there. Oh, you can also sign up for that May mental health first aid training. And you can let us know if you're interested in any committees. Also, I just wanted to note that one of the things that we've been working on really closely with the California CSA Coalition is putting together a California Child Savings Account toolkit. So like legit, this is over 30 pages of just tips for everybody to know everything from what is a child savings account to examples of scripts so that you can meet families wherever they are in their financial journey. And then it also has a checklist that breaks down whether you're a high school person, a college promise person, an elected, a student leader, very specific action items you can do. And today we are launching with all of you, our coalition members, a call to action starting today to help us increase CalKIDS claims by 10% this year. Let's bring that number up across all of our counties. And you now have the resources to support you in doing that, as well as close partners with our California CSA Coalition members. So please use the Padlet. There's a resources and an announcements column where each of you can post your own resources and share them with members, and then we'll share them with everybody else. So let me see. How do I get to the next slide? Which one should I go to? I'm going to bring the last thing is please complete our exit ticket. And I believe instead of doing the raffle today, again, because of time, stay tuned for an email if you won. But by being here, you are entered. So thank you for that. So I'm going to go ahead and bring up our Vice Chair, Janae, to close it down, and she will be the one to send us to wine. Thanks, folks.
All right, y'all, I am back. I'm going to be quick. Just want to thank everybody for being here. Thank you for your patience as well with the technical difficulties, with the amazing speakers. Thank you for being here. And yeah, we hope to see you at our next event. And look, let's drink some wine.
Oh, yes. Hi. Good to see you.